Yeah, so absolutely excited to have Hayden Calnin on the podcast today, man. How have things been going for you?
Yeah, they've been going really good. Summertime here, so enjoying the sunshine while it's here.
Yeah, yeah,
It's been, yeah.
I can't say I blame you. The place I usually love to start with artists is, what kind of music did your parents listen to growing up, and then maybe once you kind of found your own ear, right? Like, what did you start to listen to?
Yeah, well, mum and dad always listened to like Fleetwood Mac. That was
Hmm.
basically all that was playing all the time.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah, Rumors over and over and over again, which is a great album. And then there was a lot of like Counting Crows,
Hmm.
uh, which again, that album, August and everything after, it's just like they were the two albums pretty much on repeat my whole childhood.
Yeah.
And you always knew when, I guess, people were coming round because mum and dad would chuck on that album, and then you knew, like, all right, we're having people over. So it was
Right.
that, and then, I mean, there were plenty of other things, but those two albums in particular definitely stand out as the family favorites.
Yeah, I think as music listeners, we all kind of go through this I don't our own little journey of finding music. I went through quite a few phases as a child, like when I, kind of got away from what my parents forced me to listen to. What were some of the first, albums you remember kind of picking on your own and really enjoying?
Um, I think probably my favorite growing up was this Australian band called Powderfinger, and they had an album called Odyssey Number Five.
Hmm.
I don't know if that made it over to your side of the world or not. They were kind of a big Aussie band, but they never really broke overseas. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was probably the standout album for me. I think every song on that record was just standout, and I still
Hmm.
listen to it today. I come back to it all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a big one for me growing
Yeah,
up.
I can't say that ever broke over here in the States. Not that I can remember at the very least. Uh,
Yeah, I suggest checking it out. It's an absolutely beautiful album.
yeah, definitely will. So you have a new EP out as of December, November of last year,
Yeah, yeah.
called Middle Night. And, after a few listens through, it's beautiful, and I would just love to hear kind of about the overarching kind of theme to it and what kind of went into to making it.
Yeah, I guess it all started with just I guess some musical ideas that I was cooking up on my computer and just at home on the piano. But everything seemed to be written or I was recording it, yeah, around midnight. So
Mm.
it kind of had that, I guess, that recurring theme throughout all of the music was that, yeah, it's all late night songs. And I
Yeah.
find that when you're writing songs, the time of day or the weather or the environment that you're in definitely help guide the sound of it. So that's why I called it Middle Night. But I guess that what the songs are all about is it's kind of getting more in touch with the weirder side of life. I'm a bit obsessed is maybe too strong a word, but I am very uh, interested
Mm.
in the paranormal and the supernatural and I guess the more esoteric side of life. And yeah, it's kind of exploring a few, I guess, unexplainable things that
Mm.
have happened in my time here. And yeah, just like delving into what any of that really is. So
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
would.
it's a recurring theme.
I think for me, I mean, I get like when I was listening to it, it definitely felt like the lyrics were just kind of like almost in the way you record them in the middle of the night. They felt like late night thoughts, right? Like you're just kind of like
Yeah.
contemplating the world in weird ways, and it's uh it's funny how that definitely kind of like shines through, and even on like the artwork itself, it's like this very like I don't know, like tunnel vision in the middle of the woods kind of situation that you got going on that felt very fitting to the music that kind of played behind it. Um, so I think my favorite song off of it is a song called "You in Universe," and
Hmm.
I would just love to hear more about that one in particular. Kind of the process behind that one as well.
Yeah, I guess you and Universe is it's kind of a outward look rather than an inward look. Um, and it's just kind of recognizing that um, yeah, we're all part of this absolutely magical system that no one has any idea about. And it kind of comes back on the individual to kind of recognize that that you are part of that,
Mm,
and you are that. So it's kind of delving into my thoughts a little bit on that. But there's no right way to talk about that as well because it's so unknown, and everyone's just guessing. So it's just yeah, I guess it's a my own reflection on the big picture stuff.
yeah, and it's so funny too because like it's so easy as a human to get so caught up in like the micro, the minutia of like your day to day, and like it is just this end of the world type scenarios for things with them. When you kind of zoom out and realize like like not to really put a dark look on it, but none of it really matters that much in the the grand scheme of the universe and the world. It is like a very like humbling experience if you could really kind of think
Yeah,
about it, right?
yeah, we're less than a blip.
Yeah, less than a blip on a dot in the
Yeah,
middle of
yeah,
nowhere. It's a
yeah.
very very odd experience to say the least.
I
So
certainly.
when you're recording, are you more of a I mean, I would think you're more of like a layerer, and you got to go back through with production, as opposed to like this strip back type of situation. But do you find yourself leaning one way or another most times?
Yeah, I think all my songs kind of start quite stripped. Whether it's just mucking around on my piano or or a guitar or just singing a melody over and over that seems to be looping in my head. But
Hmm.
when it comes to creating them, I kind of go in as fresh as I can, and each song I probably record about 4 or 5 different versions of the same song, just until I feel like the world is fitting. And then I'm always keeping in mind the body of work that it's sitting on, how they're going to connect and be cohesive. Because
Yeah,
I'm very much an album listener, and I
mm,
want to create that for people,
yeah,
for those that appreciate it. So yeah, it tends to be I'll make a version, and then I'll make another version. I'll make another version, and I'll find the bits or the little pocket of it. I'm like, that feels right, and then I'll take that and expand it. Um, and I try not to get the demoitis, which I used to get a lot. And I work with artists all the time, and they kind of bring in this demo for me to help produce and record, and then they'll get this demoitis thing, and I'm just like, I'm trying to stay away from that because I
mm,
feel like it's a trap.
yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
ear fatigue can really like you start to overanalyze a lot of things. I'm super appreciative of like the album piece though, because I think that's something. I don't think it's like a lost art by any sense of the imagination, but I feel like it's very easy to get lost in like song to song to song and not listen to the entire body of work that the artist kind of intended to. I know, especially for me this year, like that's something I'm like really trying to focus on is this um really trying to sit and listen to a whole album, right, and really
Hmm.
take the time to be in it and understand it, or at least try to.
Yeah.
Um, because it's in the way the world works, it's very easy to get lost in in a song here, a song there, and next thing you know, you haven't listened to an album in a minute. Um, so
Yeah.
you've been making music for quite a while now. Has your approach to how you make music and put it out changed over time, or is it kind of stayed the same for the most part?
No, it has. It's certainly changed over the years. I think when I started, I had no real idea of of any process. I
Mm,
was just making it. And I come from a film background, and I was studying film at university, and kind of became this token sound guy
yeah.
in the course. Like, tended to do a lot of sound design, and kind of got obsessed with the sonic world of film rather than the visual side of film, and that kind of led me into the production skills just from playing around with, you know, um, sound design for film. So when I started, there was very much a focus on just getting super nerdy and super weird with the sounds. And
Yeah.
then as it's progressed, it's less and less and less. It's way more raw. I just kind of do one take of something like a vocal, like for instance, a vocal thing. And if it feels right, I'm not going to go back and try and make it sound any better. If
Yeah.
the feeling's there, I'm just like, yep, that's good, and leave it. Whereas in the past, it was definitely like try and try and try. But I think that's also just a development of skills. Like when I was starting, I was honestly I was pretty shit. Like I did, I didn't really have a clue how to do anything, and I had no training or anything like that. I was just making it
Yeah.
and fell into the world of music. So now that I'm in it, it's yeah a totally different approach,
Yeah.
and I hope
What
it keeps
a
evolving too.
yeah. What a amazing thing though to be able to like kind of, have this hindsight where you're like, I wasn't that great at it, but in in ways that we all can grow and understand ourselves a little better. Like we're never as good we're never good the first time around as we are, the 100th, 200th time around. So, um,
Yeah, I
to be
tend to
able
tell
to,
people like when if someone's like, "Oh, you play music? Can I hear some?" And I try and guide them. It's like you can, but don't listen to anything before 2017 around
right.
about.
Yeah.
Anything
Start
before then,
here. That's so
yeah, you might
funny.
get the wrong idea. So,
That's so funny.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's a lot of, humbleness on your end, but I mean, yeah, um, I think it's cool that, even I'm sure even with like the way, you help artists produce their own albums, that kind of gives you this own insight to how, maybe you want to produce things or have things sound um, in certain ways, I guess. Has release
yeah.
day gotten easier for you over time? Right. Like I'm sure maybe not even the
So
first time
much.
around. Right. But
Yeah. No, it has the I'm not glued to
Mhm.
analyzing it
Mhm.
anymore or like watching what's happening with it. I'm just thankful that it's finally out and I
Mhm.
can step away from it. In a way,
Yeah.
it's kind of my part is done, and now people get to enjoy it, and that's exciting, uh, but not nerve-wracking in the slightest.
Yeah.
I kind of just I get really excited about it, if anything. And yeah, it's funny with releases because there's such a build up and time after something's finished before it comes out, and you've already moved on to the next
Mhm.
body of work, or I've got at the moment I've probably got about 12 tracks kind of
Right.
ready,
Yeah.
more or less, that are like waiting to come out. So my brain's already in the next phase. So yeah, release day is just another day, and
Yeah.
but it's a good day for those that want to hear the
Yeah.
music. So
I think for me, like, having no real true background in the industry, I think that was like a big surprise for me, is realizing how long artists
mm,
would like sit on just fully like ready to go albums or songs, and just like before they released it. And like that was a complete revelation to me that, yeah, that I could see that like why release day it'd be kind of relieving in a way to have it out there, like,
yeah.
if you're happy with it, however it's received. I mean, that's was never going to be for you to decide anyway, right? um
That's right. Uh,
so
it's funny too because you sit with it when it's done, and all that time passes, and I have to stop myself from going back and
yeah.
listening to it because
Hmm.
you'll want to make changes and
Hmm.
all these little things. So yeah, there is a lot
so
of time that passes.
as a, musicians these days wear what feels like, 7 million different hats.
Hmm.
How do you manage the stress of wearing, you're a producer, a songwriter, and a touring artist, and on top of that you have, social media you got to tend to. How does that
Hmm.
balance work for you?
I mean, it all balances out somehow. I just feel really fortunate to be able to do this as a job,
Mm.
and that is so rewarding to be able to, you know, do have an artistic job. I just like I love it so much, and I'm happy doing all the different parts to make that a reality.
Mm.
And I love working with artists, especially. Like you learn so much from working with other people. Collaboration is so important.
Mm.
It's anyone who thinks they can do everything themselves is absolutely kidding themselves. I think it's like, or they're missing the point of art a little bit. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be a selfish endeavor. So yeah, I love filling myself in lots of different pockets. Especially the producing and the writing for artists and doing scoring for like ads and films and those kind of things. So it's all it's all good, all in the
Hmm.
one package.
So, what's been like a favorite? This has always been a fun piece for me. Like, what's like a favorite score for an ad or like a film that you've
Mhm.
done or that you've worked on? I guess.
I really loved. I went over in 2023. I went over to Colombia to work on this documentary, and I was collecting sounds the whole time while over there with the crew. And I was essentially going to turn all these sounds into a score that I was collecting from the environment. We were kind of traveling, yeah, around certain parts of the country, and there were lots, just like it was a whole new experience for me. I'd never been to South America before,
Hmm.
um, so I think doing the score for that series, it's a series called Phenomenology. I know it's the second season, and basically the documentary is we're kind of going around to certain hot UFO spots, I
Mm,
guess. And yeah, we're talking with the locals and the Muisca people, or the indigenous people of these certain areas in the Andes, and climbing mountains and going into caves and just learning about how all that stuff is perceived over there, which is very
yeah,
different to a lot of the Western world. South America, that's just everyday conversation and very normal over there to be
yeah.
talking about spirits and UFOs and things like that. So trying to work that into a world of music was really, really fun. So yeah, loved that.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, like
Mm,
because I feel like at least for the most part in the states, it's like your paranormal stuff is limited to like these like ghost adventures shows and or like
Sam
ancient
and Colby,
aliens,
yeah,
yeah, or something like that. So
yeah,
that sounds really interesting actually, because you kind of get really fatigued watching ghost
hmm,
adventures after a while. um,
yeah, yeah, that's right.
so what is your personal relationship with like social media? Is it something that you enjoy doing? Is it something, obviously it's like a necessary evil
Mm,
nowadays.
yeah.
But how do you put your best foot forward there?
Well, I think when it was all kind of on the rise, I guess I found it super interesting and super great. I thought, wow, what a great way to build communities and
Right.
find people that you're going to connect with. But that's flipped on its head now. I just
Right.
like I can't stand it.
Yeah.
I'm on it. Obviously, I
Sure.
have to be on it to keep up and to connect with people and to it's kind of it's just how it goes. But in an ideal world, I'd love to be off it completely. But I
Yeah.
think in the in the world of entertainment and the arts, you kind of have to
Yeah. It's funny how those
take it on
two
the
have like
chin.
kind of married a little bit.
Hmm.
You're right, because it was like this, way to like really build community and kind of have like an odd, lottery ticket, so to speak, in terms of getting your
Yeah.
art or your music seen or heard. And now it's really like this. Yeah, it does feel very taxing to artists to have to like, unless you could really find something that like genuinely feels good to you and it doesn't feel like a whole lot of work to make. It does feel super taxing, which is kind of
Yeah.
a little disheartening. Even as somebody who's just like a curator in a sense, like seeing artists struggle with what works and what doesn't, and doing
Hmm.
weird stuff that kind of takes away from their ability to make music or focus on things that maybe matter more. It's a little rough.
Yeah.
So is it obviously, do you find it harder as an Australian artist to like break over here in the States? Have you been received as well in Australia as you have in as you have in the States, or has it kind of been vice versa?
Well, most of my listeners are from the States,
Hmm.
I find, and over in the UK and Europe. In Australia, our population is so small compared
Right.
to all these other pockets of the world.
Right.
So, I mean, when I started, I was doing quite well in Australia, just because there's this you've probably heard of it. There's this station called Triple J, which is kind of like this breakout station
Hmm.
in Australia, and I got a lot of love from them. So initially, Australia was great, and awesome for the live music and doing
Yeah.
festivals and things like that. But as it's built, it's been very much, yeah, a focus. All my listeners are basically from the States, the UK, and Europe, so, and not from Australia. So, which is kind of nice,
Yeah,
to be
is it?
honest. I
You
think
get to
that's
go
really
around
the,
and not have to worry about anybody. You kind of just live
well,
in a
there's a lot
pocket.
of that, but definitely, but also, it's nice that I guess the online thing is working. I
Hmm.
think that it can get your art out to a global stage,
Yeah.
and it's kind of, for me it was just like, wow, okay, what a powerful tool
Yeah.
to be able, and what a cool thing.
What is like the music, I guess maybe the local music, right? Like what
Mm.
genre is like the in Australia at the moment?
God, it's so diverse, honestly, depending on where you are and what
Hmm.
city you're in. Like, like raves are big in Melbourne at the moment, so
Okay.
electronic is coming back, like
Yeah.
techno and things like that. But honestly, I guess I'm only talking from a Melbourne and maybe Sydney perspective, but they're just like other pockets and other cities, like let's say Berlin or New York. There are scenes, and it doesn't really matter what you're doing. There's going to be
Sure.
an audience here
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, but I guess yeah, it's like techno, dance music, and the '90s kind of
Mm.
thing is back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm finding also, in terms of like the more folky side of things, I feel like there's a million musicians that are kind of sounding like Phoebe Bridgers out there at the moment,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
because Phoebe Bridgers is great, and she's obviously inspired a lot of Australians with
Mm.
that style of
Yeah, I love
songwriting.
that.
So yeah, it's
That's
super cool.
so a question that has become a favorite of mine that I like to kind of get into is if you were like teaching a music class, what are like 3, 4, 5 albums that you would have as required listening for the class?
Oh
You know,
wow,
personal to
that's a
your
great
taste.
question. I mean, they'd have to be pretty I mean, it's so hard. Five is so hard.
It's tough, yeah.
But if I had, yeah, if I guess from a teaching point of view, um, yeah, this is a tough question. I can't even think of one that I would have to actually give this some thought, Matt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't get one off the top of my head that is like, that's a must.
Yeah, I mean, you're good. Like I said, it's all personal to your
Yeah.
particular taste, right? It doesn't have to be, this wide-ranging cover of musical history, but maybe just Hayden Calnin history.
Yeah. Well, I think one particular album, definitely, I think, which is important for people who love albums, um, is by a British band called Nora and the Whale, and the album is called The First Days of Spring.
Hmm.
And I think just that one in particular, for anyone who's wanting to figure out how to make a concise and solid album, that is such a great example because it has just connections throughout the whole album. Uh, even like lyrics or melodies coming in and out of different tracks.
Hmm.
I think that when I first heard that, um, just kind of blew my mind. I'm like, oh, this is conceptual. They've put so much thought into
Hmm.
how this is structured, and it felt like for the first time, it felt like, oh, is that an album? Is that what an album's meant to be? Is it kind of all, yeah, coming together? So I would
Yeah.
definitely put that in there. Sadly, I don't think, well, maybe they are a band, but still, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that album in particular, I loved. Sufjan Stevens, Illinois,
Hmm.
I think is just a masterpiece musically, lyrically. Um, just the artistry in that album is a definite big tick from me as one I'd love to share. Rumors, again, I grew up on that album.
Right.
It's absolutely just perfection.
Yeah.
It's nice to see a little bit of Fleetwood Mac revival in the youth these days
Yeah.
as well. I'm loving that. It's the album that keeps on giving. I'm trying to think of some really old classics that I love. Um, yeah, I'm not too sure. I will
You're
get them
good.
to you though, Matt,
Yeah, you're
because yeah,
absolutely
I'll
fine.
give it some thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough question for sure. I don't even know if
Yeah.
I asked the question. I'm not even sure I could answer it. So I get it. There's
Yeah,
just
that
so
one's
many
hard on the spot.
choices. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Um,
I want to get that right
yeah, it's a
if you're
tough one.
teaching.
Yeah. In terms of maybe a little easier one here, in terms of your entire discography, what's the song that you're most proud of?
Um, yeah, I probably there's a song, the title track of What It Means to Be Human, that album, which is yeah, it's called What It Means to Be Human. I
Mm,
think that for me is the first song I wrote where I was like, done.
yeah.
Don't even have to think about it. There was no like, oh, maybe I need to go back and fix that. It's so raw, the recording, and everything about it is kind of a bit shit. In terms of it's just it's a bit rough
Right.
around the edges, but
Yeah.
that was kind of the point of the song, and it clicked immediately that sometimes when the song, is just feels right,
Yeah.
that's it. And yeah, I think in that was kind of written um, in throughout the pandemic, that album, and that song was kind of about this kind of we had huge lockdowns in Melbourne
Mm,
and the surrounding areas around that time, and we just weren't allowed out like a lot of people obviously.
right.
And we had this like little window of like 2 weeks where they tried to let everyone out, and me and some friends we just escaped. We went to the Victorian Alps and went camping out
Mm,
in like these beautiful mountain ranges. And yeah, that song is kind of just about you know I was just thinking when I was there, I was just like, this is such a beautiful thing, like just
yeah.
spending time with people that you love and care about, and it's just focused time. So it's a really important personal one for me, I
Love that. Yeah, I love that.
think.
And then usually I'll ask, so I live obviously in music curation, and then I always ask, what's a song or an artist you've been really into recently?
Um, well, I guess I've been on the McGee train
Hmm.
lately,
Yeah.
like everybody. I feel like I'm a bit late to that as well because I kind of was hearing all these things. Everyone's like, "Oh, you've got to listen to McGee.
Hmm.
You've got to listen to McGee." It's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll get there." And I'd heard some of the production and stuff that he'd done, and I was just like, "Yeah, it sounds cool." But then I went in and dove in, and I just like mind blown. I was just like,
Hmm.
"Whoa."
Yeah.
What a genius. Really thinking about music differently, and just kind of outside the box of kind of what's being spat out lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, big respect to McGee.
Yeah. And I don't think, just to your point, I don't think you could be late to the train, but like, you can't be late to music. That's something like
Of course.
I'm very passionate about. Like, it's everybody's on their own little, adventure in that space.
Yeah.
And I guess kind of wrapping up, like, what can we look forward to? I think you have a little tour coming up here shortly. Why don't you
Mhm.
just talk about that?
Yeah. So I'm coming over in a couple of weeks, in the start of Feb. Yeah, heading over to UK and Europe, doing a run
Hmm.
of shows. Going to be playing all these new ones off Middle Night and some old ones as well. So I'm really excited for that. So if you're listening from the UK or Europe, check out the tour list and hopefully come to a show. It's going to be great. I haven't played over there in a couple of years
Yeah,
for my own headline stuff. I've been over doing some supports with some artists, but this is the first of my tours I've done in a little while over there. So really pumped to get back and play some songs.
amazing. Well, man, I appreciate you taking time out of your summery day to talk to me, and it was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate it.